Today we're going to focus on the following 10 keywords: ambiguous, manipulate, distort, vandalism, reverie, setback, waylay, repent, prevaricate, and agenda. Now let's start with the first keyword, ambiguous. Now you look at this picture and we can see this young man who is a little bit confused. It seems that he has no clue of the thing he's seeing or whatever he's thinking about. Maybe because that thing is too difficult to understand, or maybe because that thing is mysterious or hard to understand because it is confusing. Could that be the meaning of ambiguous? Let's find out. Ambiguous is an adjective. If you describe something as ambiguous, you mean that it is unclear or confusing because it can be understood in more than one way. For example, this agreement is very ambiguous and open to various interpretations. So the agreement is unclear or confusing because you can understand it in different ways, and for agreements, this is a very bad thing. You need to have clear agreements. And we can use ambiguously as an adverb. For example, Zaire's National Conference on Democracy ended ambiguously. Nobody really knows what the results are because they were unclear or confusing. Now, ambiguous can be used in a different context. If you describe something as ambiguous, you mean that it contains several different ideas or attitudes that do not fit well together. For example, students have ambiguous feelings about their role in the world. Several different ideas that don't fit well together. They're just kind of confused. So the next time you remember the picture of this young man who is obviously confused, remember the word ambiguous and what it means. And now for the next keyword, manipulate. Now you can see in the picture, the big man is trying to control this little man who's trying to run away from him, but obviously he can't. Now, trying to control people, situations like that, of course, this is a metaphorical picture, but the idea is, how does that relate to the word manipulate? Does the word manipulate have to do with this meaning? Let's find out. Now, manipulate is a verb. If you say that someone manipulates people, you disapprove of them because they skillfully force or persuade people to do what they want. It's not always because that's what they want. It happens by forcing people or fooling people. And this is a negative word. You use it to show your disapproval. For example, he is a very difficult character. He manipulates people. And synonyms for manipulate are the words influence, control, direct, and guide. And manipulation is the variable noun from manipulate. For example, I don't like manipulations or lies. So you see, we pair manipulations with lies. They are that bad. And manipulate can be used in a different context. If you say that someone manipulates an event or situation, you disapprove of them because they use or control it for their own benefit or cause it to develop in the way they want. And that's also a negative word you use to show disapproval. For example, they felt he had been cowardly in manipulating the system to avoid the draft. It was not right. He did it for his own benefit. And again, manipulation is the noun. For example, we say accusations of political manipulation. And finally, manipulates can be used in a different context that is not actually negative. If you manipulate something that requires skill, such as a complicated piece of equipment or a difficult idea, you operate it or process it. For example, the technology uses a pen to manipulate a computer. Or much of what I do is manipulating data from different sources. And that is a good thing because you're using your skill to operate or process these things. And synonyms for manipulate in this context are the words work, use, operate, or handle. So the next time you remember this picture of this big man trying to control this little man, remember the word manipulate and what it means. And now for the next keyword, distort. Now you look at this picture, obviously it's the facade of some big building with all these mirrors. Now we can see the reflection of other buildings on the mirrors of that building. but they're not actually clear. We can see that it's not a clear image we see on these mirrors. So maybe the picture is distorted? Is that the meaning of distort? Let's find out. Now, distort is a verb. If you distort a statement, fact, or idea, you report or represent it in an untrue way. For example, the media distorts reality, categorizes people as all good or all bad, which is not the case. So they represent reality in an untrue way, because not all people are either good or bad. We can use distorted as an adjective. For example, these figures give a distorted view of the significance for the local economy. So the view that we have here is untrue, is a distorted view. And synonyms for distorted are the words misrepresented, twisted, or false. And we can use distort in a different context. If something you can see or hear is distorted or distorts, its appearance or sound is changed so that it seems unclear, just like the picture we saw. For example, a painter may exaggerate or distort shapes and forms. In this case, a painter does it on purpose because it is artistic expression and painters can do whatever they want. And we can use distorted as an adjective as well. For example, sound was becoming more and more distorted through the use of hearing aids. And synonyms for distorted in this context are the words deformed, bent, twisted, and crooked. So the next time you remember this picture of this big building and its mirrors reflecting this distorted image, remember the word distort and what it means. And now for the next key word, vandalism. Now you look at this picture and we can see that this man is destroying property. In the case that this is his own house, there might be no problem except for noise that the neighbors can complain about. But let's imagine for a moment that this place is not his and he's destroying another place, maybe a public place or somebody else's place. Do we call this vandalism? Let's find out. Now, vandalism is an uncountable noun. Vandalism is the deliberate damaging of things, especially public property. We say it, for example, acts of vandalism. A vandal is a countable noun, and the vandal is the person who does that. A vandal is someone who deliberately damages things, especially public property. For example, all information systems that have been fitted at Ashford Station have now been destroyed by vandals. And synonyms for vandal are the words hooligan, delinquent, rowdy, and lagerlout. And we also have the verb vandalize. If something such as a building or part of a building is vandalized by someone, it is damaged on purpose. For example, the walls had been horribly vandalized with spray paint. So the next time you remember the picture of this man destroying the wall like this, remember the word vandalism and what it means. And now for the next key word, reverie. Now if you take a look at this image, you can see that this woman is drinking her cup of coffee or tea, and she has her eyes closed, thinking about something else. She's definitely not thinking about the place where she is. Maybe it's like daydreaming, dreaming about being somewhere else or doing something else, who knows. But how does that relate to the word reverie? Does it relate to the idea of drinking coffee or closing your eyes or dreaming? Let's find out. A reverie is a countable noun. A reverie is a state of imagining or thinking about pleasant things as if you are dreaming. And this is a formal word to use. For example, the announcer's voice brought Holden out of his reverie. And synonyms for reverie are daydream, musing, preoccupation, or trance. So the next time you remember the picture of this young lady closing her eyes, letting her imagination take her somewhere else, remember the word reverie and what it means. And now for the next key word, setback. Now you look at this picture, it's from the bench of some soccer match, and the coach seems to be angry, upset, disappointed, and so do the players. Maybe because they are losing, who knows? But how does that relate to the word setback? Does it relate to being angry or disappointed or sad? Let's find out. Now, setback is a countable noun. A setback is an event that delays your progress or reverses some of the progress that you have made. For example, the move represents a setback for the peace process, or he has suffered a serious setback in his political career, something that stopped his progress or even reversed his progress. And synonyms for setback are the words hold up, check, defeat, or blow. So the next time you remember this picture from the bench, remember the word setback and what it means. And now for the next key word, waylay. Now you look at this picture and you can see this leopard is lurking behind this tree, waiting maybe to attack a prey. It's on the hunt. But how does that picture relate to the word we have here, waylay? Let's find out. A waylay is a verb. If someone waylays you, they stop you when you are going somewhere, for example, in order to talk to you, to steal something from you, or to attack you, just like this leopard. For example, the trucks are being waylaid by bandits. And in this case, because the people who stop them are bandits, they are stopping them to steal things from the trucks. And synonyms for waylay are the words attack, surprise, hold up, or ambush. So the next time you remember this picture of the leopard lurking behind the tree, remember the word waylay and what it means. And now for the next key word, repent. Now you look at this man praying in the middle of a lake or something, and obviously this picture is photoshopped, but this is not the point. The point is, when we see somebody praying, and of course people pray for many different reasons, regardless of their faith. They pray to show that they are grateful or that they are happy, or when they want to ask for certain things, or when they feel sorry about something they have done. So which one of these do you think relates to the word repent? Let's find out. Now repent is a verb. If you repent, you show or say that you are sorry for something wrong you have done. For example, did he repent of anything in his life? Did he say or show that he is sorry for anything he has done in his life? And synonyms for repent are the words regret, lament, rue, and sorrow. So the next time you remember this picture of this man praying in the middle of the lake, remember the word repent and what it means. And now for the next key word, prevaricate. Now you look at this picture and you can see there are a lot of reporters and they're asking questions to a politician, a celebrity, who knows, but they're obviously asking someone famous about things they want to know. And the usual thing is, especially when they ask tricky questions, is that this person tries to evade the answer or tries to give them a different answer, not the one they're looking for. How does that relate to the word we have here, prevaricate? Does it have to do with answering questions or evading answering questions or what? Let's find out. Now, prevaricate is a verb. If you prevaricate, you avoid giving a direct answer or making a firm decision. For example, British ministers continue to prevaricate. They continue to avoid giving a direct answer or making a decision. And this is a very bad thing, especially for people in charge. They have to be decisive and they have to give direct answers. And synonyms for prevaricate are the words evade, lie, shift, or hedge. We can use prevarication as a variable noun. For example, after months of prevarication, the political decision had at least been made. And synonyms for prevarication are the words evasion, lies, deception, and pretense. So the next time you remember this picture of the reporters asking the man, remember the word prevaricate and what it means. And now for the last key word for this chapter, agenda. When you look at the picture, it is obviously an agenda, and I'm pretty sure that everybody knows the meaning of agenda. But what we're trying to do here is to find out about the other contexts where we can use agenda to different meanings that might be new for you. So let's find out. Now, agenda is a countable noun. You can refer to the political issues which are important at a particular time as an agenda. For example, does television set the agenda on foreign policy? The agenda here meaning the political issues which are important. So it is not exactly this kind of notebook in this context. And there is an interesting phrase we use with agenda, and that is hidden agenda. It is a countable noun as well. If you say that someone has a hidden agenda, you are criticizing them because you think they are secretly trying to achieve or cause a particular thing while they appear to be doing something else. So it is kind of deceiving the public. And this is a negative word we use to show our disapproval. For example, he accused foreign nations of having a hidden agenda to harm the French influence. And finally, an agenda is a list of the items that have to be discussed at a meeting. For example, this is sure to be an item on the agenda next week out of the things we need to discuss at a meeting. And synonyms for agenda in this context are the words program, list, plan, or schedule. So the next time you remember the picture of this agenda, remember the different ways we can use the word agenda in the different contexts. And that'll be all for this chapter.